fans can get really involved in celebrity couple relationships. Sometimes the media makes us feel like we actually know them and know what goes on behind the scene, but really we don't at all. But we have gotten a glimpse behind closed doors, and today on Top 10 Beyond the Screen, I've got 10 examples of times that celebrity couples went too far. I'm your host for this one, I'm Joss Bedard. Subscribe to hang out with me every day and come say hi on social media. All of our links are down below. You can also hang out with me and some of our other hosts on our new channel called Top 10 Central. It's also linked down below. It's a comedy reaction channel filled with tons of funny videos like fails, pranks, we look at memes. Basically, it's just a bunch of hilarious content. So if you need a laugh, make sure you go over there and check it out after this video. But for now, let's take a look at those celebrity couples. Starting us off at number 10 is Pete Davidson and Ariana Grande. Their relationship was a whirlwind and lasted less than 6 months total. Many people said they were taking things too far when they announced their engagement shortly after they started dating back in May 2018. Reports say it was exactly 24 days after they started officially dating. They were over the top with their engagement in the media, flaunting the news and doing televised interviews about it. They were just an over-the-top couple in general. Like the one time they caused a scene on the red carpet and ran away from the cameras. I don't know if you guys remember that. But the two of them split not long after their engagement because news broke that Ariana Grande's ex-boyfriend Mac Miller had passed away. Since then, she's gone on to make jokes about their engagement in her lyrics, and he's made jokes about her in his comedy Netflix special. So coming in next, number 9 is Sammi's sweetheart and Ronnie. Anyone who watched Jersey Shore knew how toxic these two were for each other, and their fights were too far pretty much every time. Before entering the Jersey Shore house, Ronnie said he had one rule, and that was to never fall in love at the Jersey Shore. But then he met Sammi and they quickly hooked up and started dating. It took no time at all for them to have a very hot and cold relationship. With a mix of alcohol, the temptation of other people, and 5 other roommates in the house, the two of them were always down each other's throats. Things got so bad that one fight led to Ronnie completely destroying her things and physically breaking her bed, trying to throw it off the top deck, and Sam was on it, like holding on for her life like a spider monkey. Basically, all her stuff was completely ruined. And because of their past relationship and how toxic it was, Sammi is the only housemate that has not returned to do the reboot series, which happened 6 years after that. Swiping the number 8 spot is Shia LaBeouf and Mia Goth. In the last 8 years, they've been on and off on numerous occasions with some pretty nasty splits. They were even married at one point, but then got divorced, and after being apart for 2 years, they came back together just a few months ago. To say their fights were bad is an understatement, and the only reason we know this is because one of them was caught on camera. In 2015, a year before their wedding, they had a huge fight in Germany, and the video footage of the argument went viral online. Some fans were there when it happened and filmed the entire thing and then stayed with Shia after Mia left in a cab. It was honestly scary stuff, you guys. After I watched the footage, I was like, this is not something to joke about. However, this was all around the time that he was going through an alcohol addiction and also had multiple run-ins with the law. But they are back together, so let's hope that is different this time around. Best of luck. In spot number 7 is Courtney Cox and Johnny McDaid. They first started dating in 2014 and were engaged just 6 months later before they called it off in 2015. So a lot happened in just 1 year. Some would say that getting engaged that soon and ending it that quickly after is already too far for a couple. But then they got back together the following year in 2016, and they have been together ever since. But shortly after they rekindled their relationship, the paparazzi caught them on different occasions fighting in public. One time, a heated argument was caught while they were at a restaurant in West London. Every couple fights, let's be honest, but there seems to be a lot of on and off between them throughout the relationship. It just doesn't feel very certain. People have also wondered why they haven't gotten re-engaged by now or even married if things are going strong this time, because they've been together for a few years now. 4 years. Again, like after the first thing. We're moving on to number 6, and we have Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphries. Before Kanye West and Kim took over the media, Kim was once married to Kris Humphries for a whopping 72 days. We got to see a closer look at their relationship because everything was filmed for their reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. They were often spotted fighting. Even just before Kim filed for a divorce, the paparazzi caught them fighting and having a huge argument in a car in LA. She yelled at him and left him to find his own ride home. She described it as playful banter, but others started to deem it as domestic violence, and she faced a ton of backlash for it. We've made it halfway through the countdown, and we have Jesy Nelson and Jake Roche. Jesy was having the time of her life while at the release party for her girl group Little Mix. They were releasing their album called Get Weird, but by the end of the party she was left in tears after a huge fight with her fiance. They got into a heated argument during the event, causing Jake to leave and Jesy sitting in a car with mascara running down her face. The end of the argument was caught on camera because tons of paparazzi were there for the event, and Jesy had a breakdown right in front of them. Turns out that Jake went to a local hotel alone and she took a cab back to her hotel. But it seemed like they were able to shake it off very quickly because hours into the next morning they posted this affectionate photo on social media. To me, honestly, it just feels like a cover-up. I feel like people post a happy picture after an argument to like confirm like we're okay when they're not. Rolling into number 4 is Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. It's hard to forget the constant on and off relationship they once had for many years. They started dating when they were young, so we could make more excuses that time around, but then they tried to rekindle the flame in 2012. TMZ reported that they went out on a dinner date and Selena left just 10 minutes in because of something Justin said, and when he tried to go to her house later, apparently she refused to let him in. Then, in 2014, they got into a public argument at an airport and she was seen stomping out of a van and throwing her purse on the ground. Justin refused to get out of the car for some time and they went through the airport separately. It's safe to say that it might be for the best that they didn't end up together, even though a lot of fans were really rooting for them. I was. At one point. In the 3rd spot is Beyonce and Jay-Z. They seem to have successfully pulled through a rough patch in their marriage after Jay-Z admitted to cheating on her. But there was a time when people thought they were not gonna make it after pictures were surfacing of them fighting in public during a dinner. But these pictures came right after an infamous elevator fight between Jay-Z and Beyonce's sister, which was all caught on camera. The surveillance footage from an elevator captured her sister physically attacking Jay-Z, and fans thought it was about the cheating scandal that had gone on. The whole thing was really intense and it actually caused a lot of chaos in the media and in their marriage, I'm sure. Beyonce released her album Lemonade shortly after all of this, which basically confirmed the affair publicly and how they chose to work through it. Sniping number 2 on our list is Emma Roberts and Evan Peters. I never followed this couple much, but everything I did see of them in the media was always bad, so I just knew of them for being very toxic. They were together for a long time. They started dating after they met on set in 2012, and only a year into the relationship, Emma was arrested on domestic battery charges. A fight broke out between them and it resulted in Evan getting a bloody nose. Camera caught them having a brutal argument at a Comic-Con party in 2014 where Emma was crying and screaming at Evan in the midst of a large group of people. Then, down the road in 2017, there were cheating rumors going around about Emma with another actor, Hayden Christensen, and they were spotted fighting again in public. Honestly, there's just way too many fights to name, but domestic battery charges is enough to land them on this list. Finally, at number 1, we have Chris Brown and Rihanna. If you already know the story between them, then you would understand why they are taking number 1 on this list. I mean, what a nightmare that whole thing was. At one point, they were one of the cutest couples in Hollywood, but then things went horribly wrong when Chris laid his hands on Rihanna, causing injuries both physically and mentally. People will never forget the fight between them that happened at the Grammys in 2009 when they had a screaming match inside a rented car, which ended up turning violent. Photos of her battered face went viral, and Chris was later charged with assault. Even after the fight, they did continue to date, which really surprised people. They were on and off between 2012 and 2013, but then they finally realized that they could not maintain a healthy relationship. Beginning our countdown at number 10 is Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. For the majority of their relationship, they were Hollywood's it couple. This was until photos started surfacing of them causing a scene in front of their children and other families at Legoland. They were enjoying a family day at the park when onlookers spotted them having an argument and started taking pictures and videos. You could see Brad grab Angelina's arm before she ripped her arm free and started yelling in his face. The argument must have been pretty intense because witnesses were saying that they later bumped into them, like later on in the day, and they were still arguing. The picture surfaced just one day after news broke that they were divorcing, so that didn't really help their case. Apparently though, the pictures were actually a year old at the point that they came out, but you know how the media will spin it. It just so happened to be the time that they got divorced. Up next, number 9 is Scott Disick and Kourtney Kardashian. People saw a fair share of their arguments on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which was enough for some to agree that they went too far. They argued a lot due to Scott's alcohol addiction, and their on and off relationship seemed more toxic than anything else at times. Paparazzi caught one of their fights while they were having lunch in Miami. Scott was seen waving his hands in the air and getting angry to a point where they ended up leaving the restaurant. An insider who was close to Scott revealed that he was on a downward spiral during that time, and they were arguing because Khloe, Courtney's sister, stepped in to tell her that he had been drinking again. Cruising into number 8 is Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, another adorable Hollywood couple that surprised fans after they had a tiff on a red carpet. I feel like it's a rule of thumb that when you are doing a red carpet event, you leave your problems at the door, because if you don't, a camera is bound to catch you. Like, there is no way of escaping paparazzi on a red carpet event. And that is exactly what happened for these two. They had an awkward argument, and camera captured Nicole giving Keith a look that every man does not want to see. Witnesses say they were dishing out insults to each other, but it didn't give away what the real cause of the argument was. The Daily Mail claimed that Keith was not happy because Nicole's career had gotten in the way of them spending time with their family in Australia. Their busy work schedules had kept them apart a lot, and it was just getting difficult for them to handle. Sniping the number 7 spot is Jessica Simpson and John Mayer. It's easy to forget that they even dated back in 2006, but it is difficult to forget their epic balcony breakup. They dated for a year back in the day, but their on and off relationship was hard to keep up with, and sources called the relationship dysfunctional. One of their fights was caught on camera, and by the looks of it, Jessica was not having it. Whatever was going on, she was not into it. Apparently they were having a very heated argument during their vacation in Mexico, and the pictures actually captured them breaking up. After the images surfaced, it was confirmed that they split, but a source close to them told People that it was actually their 12th breakup. So no one really knew if they were serious or not. 12 breakups in a year? I mean, if that number's correct, you basically breaking up every month. That's crazy. Might as well just not even date. Rolling into number 6 is Jenna Dewan and Channing Tatum. When the two of them announced they were getting divorced, fans were devastated. But paparazzi had been warning media outlets for a while that the relationship had been struggling for some time. Photos surfaced not long before their announcement of them having an argument in a parking lot in Los Angeles. Onlooker said that Channing was trying to explain himself to Jenna, but she was just ignoring him and staring at her cell phone instead. Halfway through our list is Kirsten Dunst and Garrett Hedlund. They met on set back in 2010 when working on the film On the Road. You wouldn't have thought anything about the relationship at first because they came across as a happy, normal couple. But one of their fights got a little out of control at a movie theater, and the paparazzi captured the whole thing. They were technically heading into a movie theater when they started arguing, and witnesses say they were yelling at each other but tried to yell more quietly after they noticed that people were listening. Their relationship lasted for 4 more years after this fight before they called it quits, and sources say that they were rocky for a while and had a lot of differences when it came to goals and personalities. They said that they weren't on the same page when it came to their future. So this whole movie theater thing just seems like a little snippet in the whole story. Coming into number 4 is Simon Cowell and Lauren Silverman. Their relationship was a huge scandal, seeing as she was married to Simon's best friend, Andrew Silverman. But she got involved with Simon and ended up becoming the mother to their son, Eric. Though they have a beautiful family, their relationship hasn't always been roses and daisies. Some would say that their entire relationship was too far since Simon betrayed his best friend in order to have it. But they argued a lot about trust issues, and reports claimed that Lauren had an issue with Simon Kidman remaining close with some of his ex-girlfriends. Paparazzi captured them having a heated argument in the back of their SUV where they were screaming at each other and Laura was in tears. I mean, we've all had some kind of heated argument about trust issues, I'm sure, but it's a lot harder to hide it when there's paparazzi following you around. In our third spot is Bradley Cooper and Irina Shanks. This is a perfect example of if looks could kill. The couple had people talking after they attended the Wimbledon men's final back in 2016. They were dressed to the dime and sitting in a crowd of people when they had a tense argument which happened to get caught on camera. The drama unfolded as the tennis match went on and the camera just panned across the crowd. One cameraman fixated on Irina, who was giving nasty looks at Bradley. Like literally, looks could kill, man. Someone sitting close to them told US Weekly that he whispered in her ear and she started wiping away tears from her eyes. Of course, the footage blew up on social media and people were quick to point out that if they had an issue, they should have just left. Making their way into number 2 is Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. These pictures actually broke my heart because Jennifer looks so heartbroken and sad. Photos were captured of them arguing in their car after they dropped off their 3 kids at school. Things got so intense that Jennifer was brought to tears. I mean, what could you possibly be fighting about at 8 AM in the school parking lot with a bunch of other teachers and parents surrounding your car? Yeah. I don't get it. An onlooker told In Touch, there was a lot of gesturing and it seemed intense. Jen looked really upset, like she was crying. Ben seemed both detached and at other times he was reaching out to her. Apparently, no tea, no shade, but they had issues for a while, which is why they announced their separation in June 2015. Why they got separated was, rumor has it, that Ben had cheated with their former nanny. So that would have me crying at 8 AM in my school parking lot if that was, connected. Earning the number 1 place is Charles Saatchi and Nigella Lawson. This one caused some serious chaos online when photos of an argument started to go viral. Their marriage has always been high profile and one of their fights was captured as they were dining on Mount Street in London. A photographer spotted them and started to snap pictures and one of them was enough to lead them to divorce. Kicking off our countdown list, number 10 is Britney Spears and Kevin Federline. He was a backup dancer and a rapper when he first met Britney and after only 3 months of dating, the two of them went and got married, which seemed to do more damage than good to their relationship. Their marriage was not long, it only lasted 2 years, but it was a difficult 2 years for them. Kevin was accused of abandoning his pregnant ex-girlfriend, Shar Jackson, to date the famous and wealthy Britney Spears, who he also had 2 children with during their very short marriage. Their marital problems got so bad that Britney filed for divorce in 2006, citing irreconcilable differences. From there, the two of them had a very vicious battle for custody of their 2 children. Initially, they both filed to have sole legal and physical custody of the kids, but the courts ruled that Kevin should have full custody. On the night of January 3rd in 2008, police were called to her residence as she was refusing to give up her children, who she locked in a room with her. Britney went through a very personal, rough patch in her career, which we all saw, but she did manage to get her life back on track and is able to co-parent in the end. Rolling into number 9 is Khloe Kardashian and Lamar Odom. Their love story moved very fast, which many people were concerned about when it first happened. Back in 2009, they shocked everyone when they announced that they got hitched after just 3 weeks of dating. You literally don't even know someone after 3 weeks. How are you possibly getting married? They were married for 4 years before the divorce papers were submitted and things got really hectic. The world soon learned that Lamar was struggling with substance abuse and had been unfaithful to Khloe on more than one occasion. Despite being on her family reality show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, somehow they were able to hide the fact that he had been going in and out of rehab centers. Things took a really bad turn when Lamar had a near-death experience and was found unconscious inside of a brothel. It is then that we learned he had been cheating on Khloe more than we realized and that his addiction was a lot more serious than anyone knew. Khloe officially filed for divorce on December 13th, 2013, and the two of them have since moved on with other people. Swiping the number 8 spot is Eminem and Kim Mathers. Reports say that Eminem and his ex-wife Kim were actually married twice. The first time being from 1999 to 2001 and then briefly down the road in 2006. They seemed like a match match made in heaven at first, dating for over a decade and having a beautiful daughter together. The two of them actually met at a house party when they were just kids. She was only 13 and he was 15, so they were together before Eminem made a huge name for himself. They actually dated all throughout high school, so when they got married it was really cute because they had the whole high school sweetheart story. But after he became famous, their relationship only ever made press for very negative reasons. It became publicly known that both of them had been disloyal to one another throughout the relationship and that they both were dealing with substance problems. After they split, sources said that the two of them would fight often and that their fights would get pretty nasty. Eminem also wrote his epic rap called Kim, where he describes what he wishes he could do to her now, and it's very disturbing. You should go listen. Up next, number 7 is Chris Brown and Rihanna. They seem like the music industry's perfect power couple, and from the outside looking in, everything seemed like it was a perfect love story. That was until one fateful night in 2009 when the horrific news broke that he had left her bruised and bleeding after an argument. Rihanna even testified against him in court, which is why fans were so surprised when they tried to give the relationship another shot a few years down the road. After the altercation, Chris was arrested and sentenced to community service and domestic violence counseling. He openly talked about his low point in the relationship and called himself a monster for what he did. But he also admitted that she got physical with him too, and that oftentimes all their arguments turned to violence, whether it was scratching, slapping, pushing, basically everything. So obviously the relationship was extremely toxic, and it was probably for the best that they went their separate ways. Coming in at number 6 is Rob Kardashian and Blac Chyna. Their relationship wasn't long, but it was probably longer than it should have been. They dated from 2016 to 2017 and even got engaged and had a baby girl together during this time. We got to know them as a couple through their own reality TV series called Rob and Chyna, and anyone who watched it could tell that it was a very toxic relationship. The two of them fought all the time and also had a lot of trust issues with each other. The show only lasted one season, because their relationship only lasted one season. Their breakup was a really nasty one as well. She moved out of their home and Rob went online and started attacking her, even posting some of her nude photos for the world to see. After that, they got into a very nasty custody battle, but they did go their separate ways for good, still co-parenting their daughter Dream. I love to see the co-parenting at least. At least. Freaking least you can do if you bring the child in this world. Halfway through at number 5 is Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. Their relationship is famous for being on and off again, and we all know that any relationship that is known for that is probably a toxic one. Their relationship was a fairy tale love story at first, and many fans thought they were going to be together forever. I legit thought they were going to get married. But they were on and off for a total of 6 years, which is a long time for two people to try and figure out if they are going to work or not. People were surprised to see them spending time together in paparazzi photos, and the two of them were apparently trying to make things work. But then, just a few months later, bam, Justin Bieber is married to Hailey Baldwin. That is when Selena Gomez released a single called Lose You to Love Me, where her lyrics talk about their past relationship, where she said he moved on and replaced her in 2 months. So people are pretty positive that she was referring to his marriage with Hailey. Justin seems really happy and in love with his new wife, and Selena is healthy and happy living on her own, as far as we know. At number 4 is Kourtney Kardashian and Scott Disick. I have 3 Kardashians on this list, and I don't know if that is a good thing or not. Anyone who followed the series Keeping Up with the Kardashians would have seen the ins and outs of their relationship, which was filled with a lot of highs, but also a lot of lows. They started dating back in 2006 after they met at a house party. They dated for almost 10 years, and during that time they welcomed 3 children into their life. But throughout these years, Scott was struggling with an alcohol addiction and was often accused of being unfaithful. It wasn't until 2015, when he was caught in a cheating scandal, that Kourtney finally called it quits and they went their separate ways. They both went on to date other people, but there were times when they were trying to see if they could make it work, but it just wasn't. In recent times, rumors are saying that they might be back together right now, or they're at least trying to be, but nothing has been confirmed. It is a lot of on and off, and we can only imagine how hard that is for the kids, especially because they've dated other people, so they're just bringing other people into the kids' lives, you know? Could be a very messy situation. In the 3rd spot is Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. I think their $100 million lawsuit is enough proof that their relationship is a toxic one. We have learned a lot about the relationship because of it, with each of them bringing forth different evidence against the other, most of their claims being pretty disturbing. Some of their claims have involved domestic violence, alcohol addiction, substance abuse, and apparently Amber pooping on their bed as a funny prank. The lawsuit has been going on for years and it keeps getting more toxic as time goes on. Amber's reputation has been completely destroyed online, and now she is wanting to sue Johnny and his legal team, claiming that they hired bot accounts to attack her social media pages. The court dates are also now affecting Johnny's film schedule, which he signed a legal contract for, so he might end up in a Warner Brothers lawsuit by the end of all of this. Taking over the second place spot is Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee. The Baywatch star was only married to him from 1995 to 1998, but during their brief relationship, things were less than ideal for them. At the time, they were a rock and roll love story for all ages. They both admit that it was love at first sight for them, but their relationship was a dramatic roller coaster that came crashing down. Despite the issues, they had 2 kids together, which Pamela said was a decision that they made out of true love at that time. But she also admitted that Tommy had often mistreated her and that the relationship was very dark, so they decided to split after just a couple years. Their split caused issues down the road, with their sons feeling torn between them. In March 2018, one of their sons, Brandon, allegedly punched Tommy in the face and knocked him unconscious after he posted a derogatory tweet about his mom. So the family dynamic was very toxic even after the relationship came to an end. Brandon was in the recent The Hills reboot reality series, and he talked about his parents, and he also revealed that he and his dad have been working on their relationship. We've made it to number 1, and we have Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love. One of the biggest love stories of all time, but mainly because there's always been a lot of controversy surrounding their relationship. They got married on February 24th, 1992, just 2 years prior to Kurt's tragic death. They were only dating for months before they decided to tie the knot. But then the tragic news broke that Kurt was found dead in his Seattle home. Reports say that the relationship was a lot more toxic than anyone knew, and that Courtney was the one who introduced to him, which was the start of a very self-destructive lifestyle and relationship. Many people have come up with the theory that she actually had something to do with his death. She claims that all he wanted to do was play his guitar at home and do and that he had attempted on more than one occasion. But others think that it was part of her plan because she was given more than $50 million after getting a stake in the publishing rights of Nirvana's music.
And at number 10, Olivia Wilde and Harry Styles. These two have been hot and heavy ever since they were spotted out together at a wedding in January of 2021, with sources saying they were quote affectionate around their friends, held hands, and looked very happy. This couple met on a movie set that Harry is starring in and Olivia is directing. But there are a lot of theories that this might just be a publicity stunt for the movie, and once the movie actually comes out, they're just gonna break up. And I frankly believe this theory. Personally, these two as a match just doesn't really make sense to me, and it feels like everything they do is just for press, but that's just my opinion. And at number 9, Justin Bieber and Hailey Baldwin. These two were on and off for a few years until they decided to officially get back together, then get quickly married. The speed of their union has caused many to think that there were ulterior motives for the marriage, such as Justin needed to get over his ex Selena, or Hailey just wanted to gain clout off of Justin. However, the most recent thing that's raised eyebrows is the video going viral that looks like Justin is screaming at Hailey in public. From the video, it looks clearly like he is very angry with her and yelling at her. However, apparently eyewitnesses claim that that's not what happened and he was basically just telling her a story, but I'm not sure why you would look and act like that if you were just telling a story, I don't know. Personally, it seems like trouble in paradise to me. And at number 8, Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker. These two became a couple officially in January of this year, and to say that they've been hot and heavy is truly an understatement. And the amount of PDA the couple is engaging in is truly shocking. A source said about the relationship, quote, "They have been close friends for years and have been dating for a couple months. Travis is very smitten with Courtney and has been for a while. Apparently they've been friends for years and it recently turned romantic. But considering I never even knew who Travis Barker was until he started dating Courtney, and now he is like literally everywhere I look, kinda makes me think there is some shadiness going on. Even more so because Travis has started working with a lot of TikTokers turned musicians, and it seems like he's looking to build their brands in any way that he can. And you know, maybe being with Courtney is publicity for all that. I don't know, something just feels off to me. And number 7, Scott Disick and Amelia Hamlin. Scott Disick has been raising eyebrows ever since he started dating yet another 19-year-old while he is in his 40s. After dating Sofia Richie, who was also a teenager when they met, Scott decided to enter into a relationship with Amelia Hamlin. And from the online reaction, it seems that many are concerned by this clear pattern. Even Amelia's mother, Lisa Rinna, has expressed concerns about their age gap on her reality show, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I know we say age is just a number, but I think it's safe to say that these two just have two very different lifestyles, and it would be difficult to imagine them actually staying together long term. And at number 6, Olivia Rodrigo and Adam Faze. After Olivia Rodrigo became a superstar for her relatable songs about heartbreak and jealousy in relationships, she stepped out with a new man, producer Adam Faze, who is reportedly 24 years old, while Rodrigo is 18. They went public in June of 2021, and it's been reported that they met through friends. But it seems that most of Olivia's fans are not on board with the relationship, and they think it's concerning that a 24-year-old wants to date a freshly 18-year-old Rodrigo. Anytime photos of the couple are leaked online, they are heavily scrutinized. And it seems that the vast majority do not support the coupling. And there is a potential that they'll break up simply because public sentiment is just so bad. Halfway number 5, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. This couple has a long and complicated history. They were together and even engaged many years ago, but Ben left her at the altar and they parted ways. However, after J.Lo's most recent relationship with Alex Rodriguez ended, Jen and Ben are now hanging out yet again. It seems that the two are officially back together. Fans have pointed out many issues in this relationship. Firstly, it seems they both just rebounded with each other, so it's not clear if they are healed from their last relationships yet. And it's hard to say if they've resolved the issues that made them break up in the first place many years ago. In at number 4, Khloe Kardashian and Tristan Thompson. These two are so on and off, I honestly never know when they are actually together, but based on how rocky their relationship has been, I think I can guarantee that they will never actually be together, because it's impossible for Tristan to stay faithful to her. Tristan has cheated on Khloe numerous times. I think the current count is like 4 at the minimum. It seems that Khloe always gets swept up in his charm because she wants her daughter True to have Tristan in her life, and she's been open about wanting more kids with him so True can have siblings. But it seems that at this point, she should just cut the cord for good. And at number 3, Jessica Biel and Justin Timberlake. This couple have broken up and gotten back together so many times that fans were shocked when they actually got married. But even though they've been married for years, there still seems to be trouble in paradise. While the two have been together, it was rumored that Justin cheated on her with Olivia Munn and Mila Kunis. It was also rumored that Biel gave Timberlake a curfew after Scarlett Johansson got her divorce. I guess she was concerned that he might cheat with Scarlett. The source said, quote, "This is a set-in-stone rule, that Justin has to be home by midnight or call with a damn good excuse if he isn't." Adding, quote, "Their marriage is in a good place again now, but Jessica will never forget those years when he'd flirt behind her back and disrespect her in public. He's a kept man now, and she's the one wearing the pants." And even after all that, there were photos that recently leaked showing Timberlake getting cozy with co-star Alicia Wainwright. And at number 2, Donald and Melania Trump. During the entire election cycle and presidency, people were convinced that Melania hated every bit of it and was dying to leave her marriage. Many were even convinced that after Trump's stint in office, she would divorce him. At the time, a source said, quote, "Melania does not keep hidden from everyone around her how miserable she is. Melania wants as little to do with Donald as possible. She's not interested in Donald, the presidency, or anything involving him." Another source claimed that they even sleep in separate beds. The Trumps have always denied rumors that they are not happy, but from body language, it's clear that they are not head over heels, and a split definitely could be coming shortly. And finally, at number 1, Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox. These two have been stirring up relationship rumors ever since March of 2020 when they started filming an upcoming movie together, while Megan was on the rocks with her husband at the time, Brian Austin Green. After months of speculation, the two finally stepped out together and have been an item ever since. However, there are a lot of questions surrounding the relationship. A lot of people think it's a publicity stunt for the new movie that they're both starring in, and others think it was a PR move on Megan's part so she could get a lot of publicity for her, kind of rebrand back into the business. Whether whether it's real or not, the pair are getting a lot of publicity, which usually just isn't very good long term. So that's all for the list, guys. Let me know your thoughts below. But before I go, I'm gonna shout out some comments from celebrities that are banned from social media. Kimberly said, Trump banned from Pinterest. Wow, must have been some bogus hairstyle pins. Yeah, hopefully he was not pinning anything to do with hairstyle, because no one needs his hairstyle. Truly, I don't even know how he invented his current hairstyle. It's crazy. But yeah, the Pinterest thing, that's just funny. Like, how do you get banned off Pinterest? Then Fatboy Scrolls said, how can ban these celebrities who show their chest, but there are people on Twitter who show more than their chest? Doesn't make any sense. Yes, the reason I kind of shouted this out is that Twitter is the only social media platform, I believe, where you can post almost anything. The only thing they care about is like hate speech and a few other things, but you can post your full body. There's no nudity restrictions or whatever, whereas on Instagram, Facebook, all those other platforms, there of course is. So just a fun fact about Twitter. And then Prep For It actually got back to me explaining his job, that he's a full union member for a long time in Hamilton and Toronto. So that's super cool. Thanks for getting back to me. Love to learn more about the community. If you guys want to put your work or whatever other interesting facts in the comments of this video, I will make sure to read them. Alright guys, that's all for the video today. Thanks so much for sticking around if you made it all the way here. If you liked the video and want to see some more, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel below. I've been your host, Mackenzie Smith. Make sure to check us out on our social medias, and I will catch you all in the next one.